am ready. Why these fundamentalist forces play havoc in our country? As one of my young friends who was speaking here, India claims to be the largest democracy in the world. Why we claim it is the largest democracy? Our democracy is a secular democracy. Our democracy is a way of governance. And here no room for any fundamentalism, whether it is Hindu fundamentalism in the name of Hindutva or Islamic fundamentalism in the name of anything else. There is no scope, there is no room for fundamentalist forces. If at all Muslims are exploited, this is my view. One may agree or one may debate, but they are exploited by fundamentalists on one side. Secondly, they are exploited by some political parties. So you must identify who are these political parties who exploit the Muslims. Definitely, I can speak for my party, the Communist Party of India. For that matter, I can speak for the entire world. We do not exploit the Muslims politically. And we do not believe in such political exploitation of any community. We discuss issues. We address the issues of all sections of the people. Particularly, we address the issues of poor people, exploited people, economically exploited people, politically marginalized people, socially oppressed people. We represent their interests. We fight for them. We take up their issues. And we are keen to discuss the people's issues. This is my point. So you will have to differentiate between the political parties which exploit Muslims and the political parties which really sincerely fight for the interests of Muslims. This is my point. That is for you. Yeah.
In West Bengal, there is
I am coming.
Muslim fundamentalism.
I am coming.
But you have to explain.
No, we don't support Muslim fundamentalism. That's what I am saying.
No, in West Bengal, there is no Muslim fundamentalism. There is no Hindu fundamentalism. Only you are there.
Okay.
Why Muslims considered are miserable?
That I am coming, and Comrade Anandullah is there. He is MP from West Bengal. He will also explain. That is what. Now the people should try to understand. Now the conditions of Muslims are pretty bad. And even before Sachar committee was appointed and Justice Rajan Chachar went around the country and worked on that report, submitted that report, we were aware of these problems. And in fact, in 1970s, we took up the problems of Muslims. In 1970s, I must say, in late 70s, the institutions like Minorities Finance Corporation, Maulana Azam Education Foundation, and Urdu academies were created. It is all in late 70s, long before Sachar committees. But these institutions were not provided adequate funds. They were not provided adequate funds. Apart from inadequacy of funds, lack of funds, there have been lack of political will to make these institutions instruments for betterment of the targeted beneficiaries. This is where the problem lies. Now, Sachar committee has brought very alarming facts with regard to the living conditions of Muslims. It is not only to target one state or other. In general, in India, the Muslims lag behind in terms of education, in terms of employment, they lag behind. And why they should lag behind? Whether there is any discrimination as far as providing jobs to them, providing educational access to them, these issues will have to be properly addressed. These issues. Having said this, I must say, I am meeting number of Muslim brothers. I am meeting. One group came, they said Dalit Muslims want reservation. I do not know how many of you agree there are Dalit Muslims among Muslims. Because in Tamil Nadu I was addressing a conference. It was conference of Muslims, Christians. I asked them, theoretically speaking, Christianity should not have caste. Theoretically speaking, Islam should not have caste. But what is in reality? No, I am coming. Let us debate. What I am trying to say, Dalit Muslims are there and they come to me. And that is why our party said, Dalits, wherever they are, they must get the benefits of reservation. Dalit Hindus, Dalit Sikhs, Dalit Buddhists have the benefit of reservation. Why not Dalit Christians? There is a dharna going on in Jantar Mantar demanding reservation to Dalit Christians. So if there are Dalit Muslims, why not they should be given reservation? This is my question. So irrespective of their religious affiliation, Dalit must get the benefit of reservation. This I make it clear. My party's position, I make it clear. Secondly, when Mandal Commission was appointed, Mandal Commission came out with a huge report. Mandal report consists of several communities of Muslim religion under the list, socially, educationally backward classes. And several Muslim communities are being included and they get that benefit of reservation. This Mandal. So what we are saying, the artisans or the professional communities which are in the Hindu community, which are getting the benefits of reservation, the equal treatment should be given to Muslims. In no way I argue, it is not my argument that reservation must be on the basis of religion. It is not my argument. My argument is different. My argument is Muslims do need affirmative action in terms of education and employment. They need affirmative action. At that young friend, I fully endorse his feelings. He is right. Such a committee report has been presented in the parliament. And even before such a committee, several committees were appointed, several reports were submitted. What is the action taken? What is the action taken? If there is no action, what is the meaning of all these committees and reports? That is the anger he expressed. I fully agree with him. Even now, such a committee's report should be examined thoroughly in the context of Article 15, 16 of the Constitution. Why Muslim brothers and sisters lag behind in terms of education and employment in India? Why there is a kind of subtle discrimination against Muslims? One has to provide answers. Parliament has to provide answers. Political parties will have to provide answers. Finally, the government of the day, union government, state government, will have to provide answers. Having said this, I must point out one more thing. It is all right, a committee, Rajendra Sachar, an honest human rights activist, proactive justice, he has brought up a well-documented report. But at the same time, one should know, fighting for law is one thing. We will have to fight for any law. But fighting for the implementation of law is another important thing, which is more difficult. So Sachar committee should have submitted the report. But what is the action taken on that report? For that, we need a big movement. people's movement, popular movement. Even though we are a democracy, we should keep in mind, unless we build a powerful people's movement, unless we build an effective people's intervention, nothing gets done in this country. Nothing gets done in this democracy.